Hey there, my name is Meagan. I am the co-owner of Houston Moms, and today we are out at Tutorville. Tutorville is an amazing center out here in Woodway, San Felipe. I have with us Jess Rogers. She's the CEO of Tutorville. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Happy to do it.
Yeah, so we are going to hear all about what Tutorville is doing and the exciting things that you have for our moms, and especially talking about some options for homeschool, right?
Right.
Okay, so tell us about Tutorville. What do y'all do?
Right. So I started Tutorville in 2009 because I felt like there was a need for kids to have one-on-one help, and a child learns best in their home environment. So I started Tutorville to send tutors to your home, basically for homework help. And then in 2011, we added our homeschool program.
Okay.
So we partner with TTU K-12, which is a curriculum out in Lubbock.
Okay.
And we facilitate kids K through 12 for that program. And then we also help kids with college entrance and private school placement and anything really that kids need.
Okay. So we are doing a lot, right?
We're doing a lot, yes. Yes.
So not only, so y'all will do in-home tutoring, correct?
Right.
That's part of what you do.
Right.
What is your biggest thing you're focusing on right now? The homeschool.
Right. We're focusing on homeschool mainly just to sort of get the word out because of COVID. And kids sort of took like the biggest hit during COVID. And we feel like now that we've had a little bit of experience back in the classroom, that kids really are struggling with what their weaknesses are and maybe their strengths. And so using our program to sort of catch up and maybe have a less traditional type of learning is what we're here to talk about and provide for them.
Okay, so what does that look like? Does it strictly look like for kids that are behind, or is it maybe kids who got really advanced during COVID? Who are we servicing?
Right, so any child can benefit from the program. It
Okay.
can be a child that's behind, it can be someone that has a health issue, maybe they're a student athlete, maybe they're just moved here and they can't get into a private school. So we really sort of offer the program for anyone that needs a less traditional way of learning.
Okay. And is it something they come here physically to do,
Yeah,
or okay?
They can come here to
Okay.
do our program, or they can do it in home or at a location that's preferable to them.
Okay, and I will tell y'all, this office is amazing. All of the art, and we'll show some of that. It's beautiful in here.
Thank you.
It's just
Thank
really inspiring, I think. Like, it feels very exciting and vibrant for learning.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about what the program does.
Right, so we have a rolling admission.
Okay.
So when you decide that you want to start with our program, we can start immediately.
Okay.
And we sort of assess the child of where they are, find out those strengths and weaknesses, facilitate whatever grade that they're in. But what it allows us to do is give a mom a flexibility, right? So you're not in school a full day. Maybe if you're traveling or you want to take Fridays off or you want to go to the museum, it's more of like learning by the Socratic method.
Okay.
But we're still using a Texas-based curriculum so that you'll get a stamp of 4th grade, or you could graduate from our program. And so it allows us to really sort of hone in on, yes, okay, we'll check the box of 4th grade, but really sort of work with the child on those weaknesses or maybe things that they want to learn about.
Okay. And I think sometimes, a lot of people shifted to that homeschool model during COVID, and then it was just really overwhelming. How do you support the moms during this? Because I think about teaching they're going into junior high, and I'm like, oh gosh, that would blow my mind
Right.
to have to teach them. So how do we support the parents through
Right.
that process?
Well, we were sort of set up for success because we already had this program in place. And so distance learning and online learning and Blackboard and using things like that, we were already ready. My staff was ready for that. And so I think that we sort of call our tutors like your bonus parent,
Okay.
when you hire us to work with your kids. So they are sort of trained and prepped for mom counseling, right?
Okay.
Too.
And the kids that come here,
Right.
what is their general attitude towards homeschooling?
Oh, they love it.
Okay.
They love it. We start school at 9. We don't believe in homework.
Woo!
Yeah, woo! And also it allows them to go at their own pace. And so for a child that may be behind, or they have a health issue, or they have something else that they have going on, this allows them and mom, maybe they need to see a therapist or do something different within their day. And so this allows some flexibility for that. We had a kid that started with us in first grade a few years ago. He was only supposed to be with us for 1 year. And he loved it so much, he ended up staying until he went to middle school. Yeah, it's amazing. And then the kids, of course, that we graduate that stay through our program, that go on to college, that is amazing for us because we get to sort of be part of that process.
Okay. So tell me about homeschool and standardized tests. This is like always a big question for me.
Right.
So do the children still participate in like STAR and all of that?
You have the option as the parent to choose that. So we can still have them participate in STAR and prep them for that, and they can learn those test taking skills and strategies, but they do not have to take the STAR.
Okay. I think that's, obviously a big stressor as we're like, I'm waiting for KDISD to release those stars.
Yeah.
I mean, all those things you think about.
Well, and now that some universities are test optional for college, testing isn't going to be this, big thing anymore, right? Because it's not just going to be about your SAT scores, your ACT scores. So this sort of emphasis on, is my child a great test taker, is not going to be so important for you like when your kids go to school.
That is good to hear.
Right.
I mean, because it just, we all know, like, getting into teaching to the test just gets very stressful. And then, we miss what you were talking about, the whole child, and really developing all of that. So I think a big draw for Tutorville is the flexibility. So let's talk a little bit more about the flexibility and as it relates to maybe if your child is enrolled in a classical program or, maybe there's a summer school. Talk a little bit about that.
Right. So if you're enrolled in a classical program and you need that extra support on the days that your child's not in school, we can certainly help facilitate that curriculum from the school that you're enrolled in.
Okay.
And then also if you have an older student or a high school student that's looking for getting some summer school out of the way, we can facilitate those classes that would transfer back into their private school or their high school.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you were saying also if somebody maybe they don't need government or econ, they can test out here, right?
Right. They can test out of their classes or take those classes on a faster track. They can do that at Tutorville.
Okay. I mean, what better thing than to have a bunch of flexibility for parents? So I think the number one thing, obviously, people want to know now is how do we find out more? What is the process with getting into Tutorville or just learning more, having a meeting? What does that look like?
Right. So you just call our office and set up an appointment with myself or my staff at tutorvilletutors.com.
Okay. And we'll make sure to drop that link below. And so you guys can go online. Y'all have a ton of information about what the program is, how it works, who it may work for. So you'll find a ton of information there. And then you have an inquiry form where they can call and they can have a meeting with you and find out if this is a fit for your family.
Right. Perfect.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us. And Jess, thank you so much for inviting us in. I love what y'all are doing.